Good afternoon. Today is June the 22nd, 2020. This is the Service Hero Show. 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter, and let's do this. And today we have for our service hero, someone that I'm so thrilled to have on finally. We actually tried to make it happen 2 years ago. Can you believe it? 2 years ago on this show for the service hero, Shannon Hughes. Yes, Shannon D. Hughes. He is the movement man. He is the man that celebrates people that are making a difference. And he himself is exactly that, an author, a speaker, a coach, and just a really amazing man. Shannon, thank you for being here today.
God, you just come on, just buttering up the guest, and I don't know. You might lose credibility with your guests after I start talking, but we're gonna go with this, and we're gonna see where this takes us. How are you, my friend?
Oh my goodness, I'm doing great that you're here. I just absolutely, let me tell you guys, I adore this man. Everybody does. Anybody that knows Shannon absolutely just loves him. And I just put myself in that pack. I put myself in that line. And there's a reason for it, because he's just a genuinely good person. And he also teases about himself, and it's like, okay, come on. And so I'm gonna welcome some people here to the show right now, because we've got a great group already showing up. Skip. Yes, I'm still working with the intro. I hope that Shannon was like, let's do some fun stuff. So he was like game with me. So Skip is actually on my board for the nonprofit over digital platforms. And so he helps out a lot. We have the ambassador of our chat and one of my buddies, Helene Wilson. Helene, grateful that you're here. We have Cinnamon, one of our crew, one of our community. Absolutely adore you, Cinnamon. And we are going to be celebrating today a man that got into, I believe, got into the speaking world, got into being an author because he wanted to make a difference in this world. And right now, I started the show with the date, June 22nd, 2020. And Shannon, I'm doing that. I didn't get a chance to share that. I'm doing it on purpose because of the fact that I used to number the shows, and now I'm dating them because of everything that's happening. I mean, we've got a pandemic. We've got some interesting things happening in our neighborhoods. And we were just, where is it that you live, my friend?
I am in Chicago.
You are in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And
it's been interesting here.
yeah. And I was in Chicago for the very first time back in August when I won the Impactor, and you happened to be out of town when I finally made it into town. I remember the odds of that one. It was like, okay, really? That's okay. And there's always a way when there is a will.
Right.
And you are also involved in real estate. And I'm thinking, how is all of that going right now? Because you're in real estate investments, you're in and then you're also in coaching people to help them to find their better self every day. That is your thing. So let's go there right now. How is it going, not only in your neck of the woods, but within your tribe, within your movement?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. You are a wonderful human being, and I don't think I can say that enough. So thank you for having me finally. As far as the coaching, you hit it right on the head a minute ago. With all the stuff that's going on in the world, it is it's more evident that the world is hurting right now. Now, when you look out in the world, you would say, well, it's just violence and all of this other stuff. But sometimes violence can be masked over hurt and anguish and pain. And a lot of people will channel that differently. You know, they'll do, some people will internalize it. Some people will lash out. Some people will kind of do both. And all you have to do is turn on the TV, social media. It's whatever you want or what you don't want, and to a certain degree, is out there. And for me, over the last, so we're saying since the pandemic started, um, I've been busier than ever. Now,
Yeah,
when I say that, when I say that, it's not a bragging thing. It's a when like you're honoring service heroes. The duty is to serve, and right now people need help from people that are willing to give it. And right now, what like before, was it about 2 hours before I got on this call with you? Someone reached out to me and said to me, I'm a white man and I saw your banner and everything. I would like to have a mastermind about race. Like, wow. That blew me away, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff about have those uncomfortable conversations with people of different ethnicities and talk about it and things. And so this was my first one that I got. And so I'm going to get on a call with him probably Wednesday and talk about setting a mastermind up to where they're going to have me lead it, and we're going to have some conversations. So I believe the floodgates are going to open, and they'll open if people are willing to, I don't want to say let their guard down, but just be open to listening more. There's too many people talking. There's too much noise in the world right now. There's just so much people trying to talk, overtalk each other, or waiting, or if they're listening, or listening to interrupt you, or listening to disagree with you, or listening to nitpick something, instead of just listening to absorb and let it sink in and hear what the person is actually saying, whether you agree with it or not. And for me as a coach, that's my job. That's my job, is to sit back, shut my mouth, and listen. And a lot of times the answers are coming out of the people's mouths. A lot of times they're just working through some things, and then you can kind of go back with them. So I've been, between the real estate and my merchant processing, but the coaching is where my heart is. I've been getting people saying, let's do some masterminds about race. And to be honest with you, that was never my intention going into coaching, to be a coach about race and things of that nature. But Miss Hunter, if you're called upon, it's up to you if you're going to answer the call or not. They said many are called, chosen are few. And it might be my time to answer that call. And
I only laugh because I had this very conversation with someone last evening. Because, I really believe, Shannon, it is without a doubt, I believe that there are people like you, like myself, like many of the service heroes, many of our friends, many that are here right now, many that be watching this here in the near future, that are feeling that call, that are
right,
feeling the need for, like you said, grace. And I'm also going to use another word, love. That love and the healing
mm,
energy and frequency that it brings. And see, that's what you're all about. You are a man that, when I think of like your show that you've done and the people that you've highlighted and the way that you are, you are someone that that's what it's about. It's sharing the stories, the ups and downs, connecting the spirit,
right.
being motivational, and sharing that love. And it's not surprising to me that you got that connection with that individual and that they do want you to lead something like this, because we need more and more and more people. And you go back in history and you look at anyone that did anything when it came to change,
Yes.
most of the time you look at their story and they're like, I was the least likely person to ever be called for
It's
anything like this.
always the case.
That
Yes.
was not in my, my way
Mhm.
of looking at life.
Mhm.
However, I've always loved your motivational minutes. I've always loved, I I love it when you set the day in a way, for people to just be ready for it, ready to absorb and find their better self. And is that is you. That is Shannon Hughes when I think of you. And so thank you for taking that call. Thank you for following up on it, because and thank you for being here. I mean, we actually scheduled this a little a bit ago,
Right.
and yes, it's the first time on camera, but it's not for lack of trying back in the day. And Skip actually was one of those too. It's kind of funny.
Right.
Skip was one of the back in that period of time. I had the hardest time bringing anybody onto a show,
Right.
and boy, I tried, but you never give up. Never
Nope.
give up.
Ever.
Never, never. And here we are today,
Right.
friends that care about each other and unified, saying service is the way to do it. And I went and found a lot of really cool stuff on your page. I
Oh
mean,
my
I'm like,
goodness.
oh my goodness, you know,
Oh my
we've
God.
got the troops in place.
Oh
It's like,
God. Right.
like, because really, we all have that service hero. We all have that hero
Correct.
inside of us, right?
Yes, and just for the record, the S that you see up there on the screen, that stands for Shannon. Just so you know, I don't know if
Oh,
you're
of course.
you wanted to, that stands for Shannon. I don't know if anybody knew that, but I just wanted to break that here on the air. But yes, you're right. And you see you have the picture of the superheroes below, and I think that's what we need right now. We can't go look for the heroes. We have to become the heroes within ourselves. And I know it sounds really corny, but I think with this pandemic and these riots that have been breaking out, a lot of us are looking for leadership elsewhere. When I'm one of the people that wants to look for the leadership within myself, what can I do? You can't be, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I know Michael Jackson had that song "Man in the Mirror." It does start with you. We're too eager to look for someone else to fix the problem, and then in the same breath, if they fail, we're too quick to blame them, even though they've given an effort to try to fix the problem. Well, what could you do? And for me as a coach and doing these masterminds, that's what I'm trying to do, is to try to serve and have gratitude. That's another thing we don't talk about a lot, is having gratitude for what you have. Now, look, this is 2020. This first 6 months has not been ideal at all. Let's just call it for what it is. It has not been ideal. However, there have been some things that are going on, as you're seeing, that are beautiful things, because it's so easy to talk about the negative, because it's easy to move a story with a negative. But there's a lot of positive that I see going on out there, people helping each other out and, standing for one another. You see these protests, these beautiful pictures of these protests everywhere, the peaceful ones. And I mean the peaceful ones that are out there singing and dancing and holding hands and hugging. And, they got a pandemic out there and they don't care. They're out there because they care. And to me, and I'm 47. This is the first time in my entire life I've ever seen anything like this. And I'm looking at it as an opportunity to lend my talents as far as being a compassionate person, a giving person. Look, I got a mean streak in me. I don't like people playing games with me, and I don't play games with anybody else. But when it comes to shove, comes to shove, if I'm gonna buckle down and help you, I'm gonna buckle down and help you. And I just want to help as many people as I can because there are people crying out in different ways for help. They may not know it, but they are crying out for it. So the man that talked about race, one of the things that he said to me was, I don't know if this was one of the most interesting lines I've heard. White guy, he goes, I don't know if I am a racist or not, but I want to talk and find out if there's something I can do to better myself. I don't know. That's what he said to me. And he said, let's do a mastermind. So I'm like, that's where it starts. Because if you're willing to open your ears and your heart and just listen to everybody, stop trying to tear people down and my way is better than yours, and you can get your ego out of the way. We're so much better together. Now, one of my favorite movies, I have quoted this in all my interviews. One of my favorite movies in the last 20 years is Black Panther. And Black Panther, the end of the movie, there's a scene, and it just came on last night, where the lead character, Black Panther, is talking to the there you go, United Nations. At the United Nations, that's where you have all the races, all the different countries, all of it in one room, trying to work together. And Black Panther is saying, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, we all know the truth. More connects us than separate us. The wise build bridges, while the weak builds walls. We are one tribe, and we must come together to take care of each other, and we know the truth. It was very simple, but the statement was powerful. Now, why I liked that setting was because he talked to everybody. We're in the United Nations, where all the nations are in one room, the leaders, and and I'm going to say it, there's a black man up there talking, and he's saying, "Look, we've got to cut this nonsense out." And to me, it's my favorite scene of that entire movie because that scene is saying everything that's happening now. And look, I'm not Black Panther. I'm not even a superhero. All I can be is Shannon. And I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. So whoever I can talk to and whoever wants to talk to me while I shut my pie hole and listen, let's do that because enough's enough. I mean, the people that are out there protesting with their heart, I know why they're out there. So, like I said, I wasn't called to go this direction, and I'll still coach and personal develop the way that I do. But if I have to go into this arena, Shannon will answer the call.
And that doesn't surprise me about you because you are a man that stands on, I believe, solid principles. And solid principles meaning that, what is inside of someone, what is inside, we're all the same inside, and that's the thing that gets me, Shannon. I will tell you that I have a lot of friends, and my friends are everywhere in the world and all sorts of different beliefs, and in truth, my heart just hurts. It hurts
Yes.
when I see this kind of pain taking place because in truth, I know that there's a lot of people that say they don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand because I don't come from that place.
Right.
And so it's a very difficult thing for me. Yet I am a student of history, and there are times in history that it doesn't even have to do with maybe even color. It might have something to do with belief. It might have something to do with genetics. It may have something to do with something else, that there were people that were against each other. And that was always something that fascinated me and horrified me.
Yes.
Fascinated me to think, how did they get there? And horrified me to think that they got there, and then they did what they did. And right now, I believe that we need the good service heroes. That's why I started the show back up, because I had taken time, like have taken
Mm-hmm.
some with your show. I took time. I was building the nonprofit. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing amazing things. We're going global. We are helping people.
Yes.
And yet we need to be highlighting people that are making a difference,
Right.
because there are so many of them doing that, and that is where right now I believe, and within our organization we talk about, like flip it, flip the attitude, like, because when you're dealing with cancer, you can have poopy attitude sometimes, like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm hearing something I don't want to be hearing, but we can flip it, and then we can work it through, and then that healing energy of all of us together, and that love that unites us, and there's actual science to it. And
Yes.
right now we are at a crossroads. I believe that we haven't gone too far when you study some of these times in history where we can say, okay,
Hmm.
enough is enough. We can do this.
Right.
We can get through this.
I agree.
And that's where I'm so happy to hear that that you and guys, we didn't get a chance to talk because we were having some technical issues, and so when that's why I got a little misty eyed when we were talking, because I wasn't prepared for this quite yet, and
Hmm.
so it and yet it's real, and that's what we need to be. We need to be real in regards
Yes.
to this, because our hearts joining together can make such a huge difference. And I know so many people in your area, amazing good people,
Woof.
amazing good people,
Yes.
and that's what's surprising, because I don't watch the news. I stay away from it, However, when something happens, it's going to find a way for you to hear about it. And
Yeah.
so,
Hmm.
yeah. So I'm thinking, oh my golly, it's Monday, it's Shannon, and I'm looking at the feeds and I'm thinking, wow,
Right.
wow, it was a tough weekend.
Yeah, it was. Especially here in Chicago. I think it was like 60 deaths here in Chicago. That seems to be every time it gets warm here, it seems to be a bit of an issue. That's another discussion for another day. But I'm like you. I kind of stay away from the news. I'll check in from time to time, or it'll pop up on my phone. But with all the stuff that's going on, it's almost hard to ignore a lot of this stuff. So for me, I will use part of it in order to channel into, especially going forward with people that are reaching out to me about possibly having masterminds and coaching and things of that nature. Because I think the one thing that, and even though you did not ask me this question, that bothers me
No,
is that
you know me well enough. Go for it. Yes, go
the,
for it.
the one thing that bothers me is I think people are afraid to look inside themselves,
Ah,
and like they're going to find something scary about it. I'll tell you this story. I have a friend of mine. She's white. Love her to death. And she says to me, "What can I do, Shannon?" I said, "What do you mean?" So what can I do? I'm like, about what? I knew what she was asking, but I wanted her to articulate it for me. And
right,
she says, I mean, I'm a white person and I grew up with you and all of this stuff, and we never had that issue. And she's correct. We never, if we had issues coming up with each other as kids, it was only because we had an issue,
right, right,
not
right,
because of the
right.
color.
It was,
But
just genuine, right?
yes. And the thing that I told her was, you grew up with me and my brother, but you didn't grow up in our household. You didn't grow
Right,
up in our skin. You didn't grow up in our shoes, because when we went home, there was conversations with me and the parents. Like you didn't get the conversation with your parents when me and my brother got our permits and licenses. When our parents said to us, "Okay, guys, now that you all started driving, there's some things that you need to know as black men behind the steering wheel of a car." So let me set the scene there. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm not really driving yet. It says you need to say yes, officer, no, officer. Don't reach for anything. Hands on the wheel. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And that was a hard conversation because I didn't think anything of it. I just wanted to get behind the wheel and drive. But it wasn't until 19, and I'm not going to tell the whole story because it'll take me a while. I'll get choked up telling it. While I was racially profiled for the first time. I've been racially profiled um, behind the wheel of a car by police 4 times. I've never told my brother or my parents that either, ever. And it was not fun.
oh,
And so when I saw the George Floyd video, and I heard about Breonna Taylor and Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin and all the other ones that have gone through that. I get, because that could have been me. We could not be here. Me and you could not be talking right now because it was, it's not fun. Um, it is the most unpleasant feeling ever to when me as an African American male sees red and blue lights flashing. And the last thing on my mind is how much the ticket. The only thing on my mind is, am I going to get home alive? I can never articulate to people that have never had to deal with that, what that's like. And the only reason, in my humble opinion, that I got out of it the first time was that I had a young lady in the car with me who was white. We were coming home. We had taken college courses at night. I was taking her home because she had an hour-long train ride. And I said, you know what, let me take you home. We'll be home in 20, 25 minutes. And we got stopped, and he did more talking to her than he did to me. He laughed at me because I asked him, officer, can I ask why I've been stopped? And he laughed and says, why do you need to know that? And I'm trying not to snap. And my friend in the car, her name was Penny, she leans over me and to the officer and says, why has he been stopped? Now he's talking to her. He's talking to her like he pulled her over, yet I'm the one behind the wheel of the car. And, got through with it. And that's a story for another day, but that happened 4 times. So once in 19, 2 more times in my late 20s, and the last one was in my late 30s. Look, I didn't get choked out, shot, and beaten, whatever, but that could have been me.
Right.
And so when I see this stuff, it bothers me. And I'm never afraid to talk about it. I'm more afraid of people that don't want to talk about it with me, because I think if you can kind of see where people are coming from, no matter where they're from, it will give you a different appreciation of life and what they are and what they go through. They don't have to walk in your shoes. So it's a story I don't tell often. And like I said, I've never told my parents this or my brother, but it was the most unpleasant feeling I've ever had in my entire life.
Thank you for sharing that right now. And thank you, because if nothing else, my friend, you explained it to me, and I needed to hear this. I needed to hear, coming from you, someone that I respect and love, what it is like. Because I'm thinking that, in truth, nothing is ever going to be apples to apples and oranges to oranges.
Correct.
However, there are many out there that can understand fearfully, if you will, like being in a situation that they then have post-traumatic stress from,
Correct.
and they're saying, well, I was here and this happened to me, and it was because I was a woman and I was unprotected. Or it could be
Right.
that this happened and it was when I was a child and I was unprotected. And, and in truth, if we can empathetically listen to each other and say, okay, I am hearing you and I am getting this because I possibly have felt this way because of this, or I have known someone, or I have felt out of control for
Yes.
whatever reason it is. It's
Yes.
not the same. However, it is feeling vulnerable. It is feeling like, okay, I am out. I have no say at this very moment in time. I need to survive this the very best way I can.
Mm-hmm.
And in truth, you can even say that sickness can be that way, or it's
Correct.
different, yet it might be a place to say, okay, I'm not you, and I didn't have to have those instructions when I was 16 years old. However, I am sorry you did. This is where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can now heal
Yes.
each of us for our respective things,
Mm-hmm.
and then go out there together and unitedly saying, okay, you know what, we believe that there is pain in so many, and your pain is no different than my pain is no different than your pain. It is all pain, and
Yes.
we can heal together. And
Yes.
that's where you being a coach, you being the one that, for when did you start your motivational minute?
Oh,
That's
I know
at least.
exactly when I started it. January 2nd, 2017. I was in California in December of 2016. I had been to California in over 30 plus years. And I went out there, met a stranger that I knew from Facebook for a few years. She invited me to her house for Christmas dinner, and she introduced me to somebody, and she spoke into me. I talk about it in my book, my third book, where she spoke into me because she saw it was a motivational minutes. They were like 5, 10 minute little conversations I was having. And then she said, condense it to a minute and post one every day, starting 2017. And my first one was called Leave It Back There. And basically talking about the end of 2016. You can't do anything about history. The only thing you can is shape to what is to come, and you can't change what's already done. You can only look forward to what is to come. And I did it from there, and it drew a lot of people. And I would always do it at about 7 a.m. in the morning Central. And if I was 2 minutes late, I was starting to get messages. Hey, where's my motivational minute? What are you doing? What's going on here? And it was hilarious. And so then I started doing Facebook live feeds on Fridays, which I may start back up. And on top of that, it was hilarious because I channeled that into my first two books, which I self-titled, which is called Your Motivational Manuals, Volume 1 and 2. And they're based off of short messages, like straight to the point, just boom, 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 boom. And there's volume 1 right there. And I did that on August 8th, 2017. And then volume 2 came out 2018, same month. And then Movement Mastery, which when I met you in Los Angeles in 2018, I was there to start that book. That's what I was there for. I was there with our mutual friend David Fagan, and I started that book that summer. And I worked so that was June of 2018. Worked on it all the way through the end of the year, and then went back out there in Los Angeles 2019 and did the book launch and became a bestseller.
Right. Yes. And your sound I don't know what happened. Your sound is different right this minute. It's like you're talking through a tunnel. So I don't know if it's the same. I just want people to be able to understand you well enough. We'll go with it. If you didn't touch anything and if it just happened, then there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just keep going. Yeah. And so here's the book launch. So you did either one of the two book launches that you had, and have all three of them been bestsellers?
No, just the third one. The third one was the best. So the third time's the charm. So that's good. But the third one, this is gonna sound so arrogant. I don't mean it that way. The third one should have been the bestseller. Because that one was more me. The first two books were just kind of, let me just give you information of my point of view about things, like attack things like this. But the third book was Shannon. The third book was Shannon, just what I went through of wanting to want better for myself, and some of the dumb stuff I did too. Oh my that was painful. that was painful to talk about. But you know what? You just said it about 10 minutes ago. Realness. People can relate to realness. If you are not going to be real, don't put no book out. Don't put no video out. Don't even bother. Because right now, put it like this, turn on the TV and ask me, are those protesters wanting real stuff? Because they're starting to be tired of the phony stuff. They want real. And in that book, I talked about some shortcuts, not illegal, but shortcuts that I tried to accelerate my entrepreneurial process and things of that nature that set me back. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get it. And it wasn't until I got on the plane, which is the name of the chapter 18, Getting on the Plane. And I just briefly talked about it, where I got on that plane, went to California. I went there for a real estate seminar. And then I met up with my friend, and we had never met before. And that's when her and her friend spoke into my life, and that's when the term started. So, what was it? So the Motivational Minute started. Then I went to Tampa, and I met David Fagan that year, and that would have been April. It was Good Friday weekend. It was a couple days before my birthday. And I met Allison Hillebrand Larson, which is another mutual friend of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Met them in Tampa. Then I got to go to Las Vegas later, that have been July, and got to speak and be a part of a mastermind there. Then came a contest for me to win my radio show, which you were a guest on, and I appreciate it,
Yeah.
called The Movement. I won that for Voice America. And then that launched April 11th of 2018, and I had some of the best guests, including you and our mutual friend Teresa Snyder and Renee, your friend Renee Rice,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of other guests on the show, just talking about the stories. And I entitled it The Movement because our lives are full of movements. Your
Mm-hmm.
life is full of the moves that you make and the moves that you don't, because sometimes you have to know when to be still. I'm a busybody. I'm always moving, but sometimes God has to say, Shannon, sit still and don't move until I tell you to move. And that's hard to do because sometimes you're trying to put the cart in front of the horse, and you're trying to do shortcuts, as I allude to in the book, and all of this other foolishness, and you set yourself back. And then when I got on that plane and people spoke into me, I had to, and I'll be very direct with this answer, I had to widen my circle of associates and friends and delete some people who I thought were friends. I know that's harsh to hear for some people, but
No.
there are some people that ain't in your corner. Let me be very
Yeah.
clear. There are some
Yeah.
people that are not in your corner. You need
Yeah.
to get rid of them. Now, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but if they're holding you down, I'm not hanging out with you. So, and so once the show happened, and then the third book came out, and I named it The Movement because I wanted people to talk about their movements of their lives. And I had people from different backgrounds and different, people, foreigners coming here learning the language, and transgender people. I had everybody on. People like yourself telling your wonderful story and a story of triumph. And I just had everybody on, and I loved it. And I decided to pull back from it because I said, I want to revamp the show. Now, at the time I stopped it, I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But now, as you look at what's going on in the world now, I've got material to work with now.
Oh yeah.
And I will still keep my theme of getting with people and talk, let them tell them stories. But if I have to have an uncomfortable conversation about race or rape or, cancer or whatever,
Yeah.
this is the stories that connects us.
Right.
And right now, we need it more than ever. No one can tell me anything different.
I agree. I 100% agree. 100%. And Helena's saying, I believe in your words, Shannon. Um, I agree. This show, of course, was started because I I have the community, the Chemo Buddies for Life, those that have been affected by cancer, both the patients and those
Mhm.
that love and support them. And
Yes.
Service Heroes was about being able to share with them that there are good people out there making a difference. It wasn't an assurity that we wouldn't touch hard subjects. It's
Right.
the good people that are making a difference. And you
Hmm.
have to touch sometimes the tough subjects to be able to share how someone is making a difference. And, from your page, I love, here it is, keep the dream alive. You talk about a movement, and uh, that right there, when you think
Mm.
about it, I mean, in truth, I have thought about it a lot.
Right.
That and in fact, Skip, who was one of the first ones that said hello, he
Hmm.
actually was a guest recently on a panel, and they were talking, and here's a gentleman that lives in the holler in Arkansas, and
Hmm.
kind of the hillbilly kind of place,
Right.
and a white bald guy, and he's there with a bunch of amazing Black people and being hosted by
Hmm.
one of my leadership people from my organization, and she had them all, and it was an interesting panel. The thing that I really appreciated it, and so then I went back and I started revisiting the words, and that was that Skip watched the speech a number of times, and so he could just really immerse himself.
Right.
Because many people don't understand. He looks like he's white, but he's part indigenous.
Mhm.
And so you can't assume by looking at anybody who and what they are and what their background is, right?
Right.
And that is when I looked at that and I thought, okay, I'm going to grab that image, keep the dream alive.
Yes.
And I'm thinking right now, that's exactly what we're talking about in all of this, in that, that we should be judged by our character. We should be judged but not by the color of our skin.
Right.
And that we can do this too, and we can do it in, we can actually make a difference, I believe, in a peaceful way,
Yeah.
that and this is where I Sherry, is I pray our world can heal. Thank you,
Hmm.
Shannon.
Yes.
I'm going to go one step further, Sherry. She's one of my senior ambassadors. Love her,
Okay.
love her.
Hmm.
I'm going to say, I know it will heal due
Yes.
to the miracles of those that are like you, Shannon Hughes. The miracle of people stepping up and saying, we can do this. We can do this. Let me share how I feel about this. This is the real truth.
Hmm.
Let me listen to you. I'm going to hear from you.
Right.
And we together can find a way to respect each other
I agree.
and whatever the differences are. And again, this is where, in truth, the differences for me is I see that you can grow hair on your face. I'm getting older, and so yeah, maybe I have to look for something to like pluck some out. But I'm seeing those as our differences, Shannon. There you go.
That's so funny. I couldn't have said that any better because I just think you know how we talk about you going after your goals. How bad do you want it? Well,
Yeah.
I would like to use that same question to as far as equality and peace. How bad do we all want it? If we want it as bad as we say we do, we will come together. We
Yes.
can put together put our egos to the side. You have to, like me being a real estate investor. Let me give you an example. Me being a real estate investor. One of the things that one of my first coaches taught me was, Shannon, don't be so greedy and try to squeeze every penny out of the deal. I'm like, wait a minute, what does that mean? If I'm going to be a wholesale, I want to get every little penny I want. He said, nope. He said, you do have to leave a little in order for you to maximize what you're getting. You can't squeeze every penny so tight that heads and tails on the same side of the coin. You have to leave a little. You can't take it all with you. You take what you negotiate, you take what you work, and you get it. And if you leave a few pennies on the table here and there, that's probably going to be for somebody else, planting a seed for somebody else to do
Yes.
something with.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't take everything with you. And if
Right.
people could say, okay, you know what? I'm willing to give this up, or
Yes.
I'm willing to part with this. If the greater good of all of us are going to come together and grow together and live in some type of harmony. And as milk toast as that may sound, if
Oh,
nobody's getting hurt, that's a good day to me.
oh
And
yeah.
you've got to leave something. You leave your ego at the door. You got to leave a piece of yourself. You got to leave some of that there for other people to take up and take it to another level where we can be even more together. So for me, what are you willing to give up? What is Shannon willing to give up in
Right.
order for us to come together? It can happen. How bad do we all want it is the question.
I love it. I love it. See, I used to be a recruiter, a headhunter, and I was a closer.
Hmm.
And I used to always tell everybody, you know what? We're all going to win and we're all going to lose a little, but in the end, we're going to really truly win.
Correct.
We have to give up something to
Hmm.
make something happen. And
Right.
some people call that goodwill. Some people call that, like your coach say, leave the pennies, leave something,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. I think in terms of it's showing the heart. It's showing that you're not greedy, you're not grabby, you're not, that you're willing to make it a fair deal.
Mhm.
I think in terms of movies, and I love Dances with Wolves, and good trade. It was
Right.
what was said, and it's like something fair, something that, okay, I gave a little bit, you gave a little bit, and in that effort, there was some goodwill that took place, and that goodwill can make a huge difference in all
Amen.
of
Amen to that.
this. And
Amen to that.
I have to bring this up. I just love this. Okay, so chillax. You gotta chillax. Okay, that's one thing I do have a problem with doing sometimes, and then change how you see how you change. So do a little chillaxing, and because don't you think, I'm gonna ask you,
Go ahead.
um, do you believe that when we let go of a lot of it, that then that chillaxing attitude, that and we have our eyes open, but that's when we can actually see, because
Yes.
we're not so tight and focused, and like, people get so riled up that
Yes.
it's almost as though the muscles won't even allow,
I
right?
couldn't I couldn't have said it any better. It's like I say, let go and let God. You let it go.
Yeah,
And when I say chillax, now I was having fun with that, but what it means is, you just said it better than I can say it. It's we sometimes are wrapped way too tight,
yeah,
and when something doesn't go our way, there's some collateral damage going to happen because we, snap or whatever it is. And sometimes it's not that serious. Sometimes I think, and I can speak this for myself, sometimes I would take things that are not that serious, and then the things that are I should be taking seriously, I don't. I'm like, okay, Shannon, we got to flip the script on that. Sometimes we worry about the small little things that are so minute and mean absolutely nothing. And to me, you have to chill out a little bit. And I have to sometimes tell myself, chill out, Shannon, because my mind is always going. I'm always thinking. I'm a A-type personality. I'm boom, 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 boom. But
Mhm.
sometimes I have to meditate, pray, take a minute. All right, get back to square one. Now, what was I doing? What's the focus here? And stop taking everything so seriously, which is what I've done for a long time. It took a long time for me to deprogram myself from that. But I just think that people, if you look again, I'll say it again. If you just look around the world right now, I think people need to stop taking everything so seriously,
Mhm.
relax.
Mhm.
I do think people can be a little disrespectful toward people, but I also think people are a little overly sensitive. So there's got to be a happy medium where we can kind of laugh at ourselves sometimes, when somebody's making fun of us or you make fun of yourself. Or sometimes if you have to stand up for yourself, like, hey, you know what, respectfully, that doesn't fly with me. And then go about your business. You don't have to, get all out, bent out of shape and all of this other stuff. But that's just me. And so when I did that chillax, I was just like, all right, Shan, you need to chillax a little bit. And sometimes I have to tell myself that I did it 2 days ago. So it's a word that's in my vocabulary quite frequently. And it's not telling anybody what to do. It's just, you know what, relax. It's not that serious. If you think you got it bad, somebody's always got it worse than you.
Right, right. And I come from a family of type A plus personalities, and
Hmm.
I try to say that I'm the recovering type A personality, and my whole team are like, "You're not doing it well right yet. You haven't gotten down yet." It's like, yeah. So they would be like, "Tamara, are you taking notes? Chillaxing, chillaxing is on the table, and we need to like have you chillax." They're gonna be like, "Oh, we love that, Shannon. Chillax." Because there's so many of us, so many that 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 have a purpose and really are driven. And you
Sure.
will find that many of us do have that type A personality, because if we didn't, we wouldn't, it's the type B and C's that they want to do it, but maybe they don't have this. Then they have the Dory moment and they're like, okay, chillaxing. Yeah, I got that one down.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
and so we're all needed. We're all
Yes.
needed. And yet right now, it couldn't be a better time than to hear it from you right now,
Mhm.
today, to say, basically, breathe,
Breathe.
take a moment and breathe. And
Hmm.
that's one of the things I have to say, because I do come from, my genetics. I have a lot of German in me.
Okay.
And so, little, and anybody that knows anybody that's got a little bit of German and is type A plus can only imagine. Okay, can happen. Yeah. So, and so then it's a matter of, okay, Tamara, breathe,
Hmm.
it's going to be okay. And then put that intention out there. And I will tell you this, Shannon, that the leadership group and the people that I'm working with now in the organization you've been watching me build with
Hmm.
all these amazing people, that we come together and we will remind each other that it is about the love frequency. And we'll get into that place, and miracles happen. I see them.
Yes.
I see them. The intention, the words are said, the
Hmm.
intention takes place, the miracles are happening. We are seeing them. And so we can do this.
Right.
And we're actually, like, last night we were even talking about it, because we're like, okay, let's open up our doors. We do it behind closed doors to protect an environment. Yet, we got the love it movement going on. It's like, okay, let's just love it. Let's do this
Right.
together. Let's love each other. It's that simple, though it may not seem it. And let's see.
Mhm.
Here's Skippy saying Martin, MLK was introduced as the moral leader of America. We need moral leadership. Raise our vibes. Thank you, Skip.
Well said.
Yeah,
Well said. Well said.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. So, I'm going to take myself down from the line for a moment, Shannon. I'm going to give you a little bit of time just to
Okay.
leave a thought, inspirational nugget, whatever you're feeling inspired to say right now. I'll come back and then we'll close out the show, okay?
Well, I appreciate that very much. Look, I'm just going to point out the obvious. It's a pivotal point, not only in this world, but in your life right now. And it's easy for me to say, don't be scared of it, because look, some people have not dealt with this before, where you're coming at a juncture in your life where you don't know where to go, right, left, front, back, or stay in the same spot. But here's the thing. One of my logos, one of the things that I say is take advantage of your membership. And what I mean by that is, like, I belong to a couple of gyms, a kickboxing studio and a yoga studio and a Tai Chi studio. And a few years ago, when I signed up for all this stuff, I'd sign up for it and go one day a week to each one of them, but wasn't going multiple days. And then was wondering why I was still woefully out of shape and not where I wanted to be. I was not taking advantage of my membership. I'm paying this money for this gym, this money for this gym, this money for the kickboxing, this money for yoga, and nothing was happening. Well, dummy, you need, if you're paying for it, you need to go do something. But in the realm of life, you need to take advantage of your membership. Your membership is your life. God gave you a membership the day you were born. We were all dealt different hands, but we were all dealt with the hand of life. How you play it is up to you. You can be an excuse maker or an action taker. All depends on what you want to do. As I said earlier in this interview, stop looking for leaders and be one yourself. You can't look for other people to come down and save the day for you. The minute you do that, you will be disappointed pretty much every time, because whether human beings purposely do it or not, they will let you down every single time. I am a prayer warrior. I'm a God-fearing man, and I'm unapologetic about it. And I have to lean on him and say, what do I do here? And take my ego out of it and, brush things off the side. I said a minute ago, I have a bit of a mean streak in me. I don't have a lot of time for horseplay, and I'm about as a direct shooter as it comes. Um, my mouth is my strength, and it also can be my my downfall at times because I'm sometimes a little bit too direct. I like to have as little gray area in my life as possible. But the one area of life that I will never apologize for is wanting to help someone out. If you see somebody on the street bleeding, it's your duty to help them, whether you can do it or not. Meaning, call somebody. Hey, someone's bleeding on the street. We cannot idly walk by and turn a blind eye. I don't care where you're from. I don't care about your economic status. I don't care about any of it. All I want for people to do is to ask themselves when you go to sleep at night, can you sleep comfortably at night at what you're doing? Now, if you can, great. Especially if things are going wrong. If you can do that, then I don't know. It is something that hopefully you will wake up from. But if you are giving your heart like Tamara does with this wonderful service here, which I'm honored to be on, where people are just giving their time and energy. Money is not always the best solution. Yes, money helps, but time sometimes is more than money will ever equate to. And right now, with me, doing my consulting and the coaching and the training, and now, as I said earlier, possibly doing some things about race. I'm a black man in America. I mean, I'm not the mouthpiece of Black America. I'm just a mouthpiece for Shannon. But I would love to have those conversations with anybody. You can message me if you want. You just want to have a conversation. I'm looking to put masterminds together where we can have uncomfortable conversations where we're not confrontational, where we're just talking and we're working through and we're more observant and we're more tolerant and we're more aware of the things that are around us. Just because you're unaware of it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. You know that old adage about if a tree falls in the forest and you're not there, does it make a sound? Well, you know what? There's a lot of sound going on right now because the people are trying to tell you the things that they go through. And what I would hope for everybody that's listening to my voice right now and anybody that's willing to listen is use your heart, have gratitude for yourself and for others, and just lend a hand. It sounds corny as I don't know what, but right now more than ever, we need each other. We need each other more than ever. I don't care about race, color, religion, none of that. If you're willing to help somebody, somebody will be willing to accept that help. But you got to accept that help too. If someone's willing to help you, you got to accept it. If someone's willing to ask you uncomfortable questions, you can't get mad at them if they're really trying to know. Listen to them. They're going to be uncomfortable. And sometimes the unpleasantness has to be discussed in order for us to get to a better place. And I'm just grateful that I get up every day to get a chance and a choice to make a difference, not only in my life, but in other lives as well. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in my book, Movement Mastery, which is on Amazon.com under Shannon D. Hughes. It's a bestseller. I launched it in March of last year. I implore people to go and read that book about some of the dumb things I did and some of the things I did to try to change. And chapter 18 is my favorite chapter, getting on the plane. Sometimes you got to take a journey. It's not so much a physical journey, but just a journey outside of yourself, outside of your comfort zone to make things happen. The minute you get comfortable, you should be worried. Right now, I want people to be uncomfortable, but don't back away from the challenge. Accept it, embrace it, look to your fellow man and say, you know what? Enough's enough. I am here for you. And the last thing I'll say is this, going back to the Black Panther movie. We are one tribe. Whether you want to believe it or not, we are one tribe. We need to be there for each other. I like to think I'm one of the wise that wants to build bridges, not one of the wicked that wants to build walls and build barriers. Right now, we need bridges to come together and move in one direction. And again, we're going to have our differences, and it's the differences that makes us stronger. As long as we are adult enough and aware enough to listen to one another, listen more, talk less, you would be surprised at the things that can get done. And like I said, you want to reach out to me, www.shannondhughes.com, or you can go to shannondhughesenterprises@gmail.com. Email me, reach out to me if you want to talk to me. My show, The Movement, will be relaunched either later this year or early January, because I'm rebooting the show, and I cannot wait to reboot the show and see the new dynamics it'll take on, and have my friend Tamara on as well once again. And look, thank you all very much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. I've enjoyed this time. We can do better if you want to do better. So I challenge everybody to want to do better and play your part. You're like part of a sporting team. Play your role. You have a part to play in this life. So step right in and take your swings.
I love it. In fact, okay, so as you were talking, they were going crazy. And Sherry says, Shannon, I think you should go on a tour and share what you said. I believe you can change the world. And yes, so we need to talk. We need to talk, Shannon. Okay, keep the faith, and love will work. Absolutely. And Skip is saying, okay, Shannon, you are talking to me on the gym thing. Direct bullseye at me. Thanks. I love that. You are amazing. I love your soul. It is pure love. Yes, it is. It is. It is. Thank you, Shannon, for your words. You are blessing and impacting each other's lives. And then it goes on, hand to hand, we work better this way.
Yes.
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 I believe it.
Yes. I
Truly
do
believe
too.
I believe it.
I do too. So without a doubt, hand to hand, my dear, hand to hand.
Hand to hand.
There you go. Here's my hand, and I'm giving it over to yours. And you know what? Thank you for being here today, Shannon Hughes.
Thank
Shannon
you.
Hughes.
Thank you. And you know you have my heart, my love, and my respect, and I mean that not just to be saying it. You know I love you, and we hit it off. We hit it off the first time 2 years ago, and I'm so glad that we are talking today. And I cannot wait till we see each other again. And I don't care nothing about the 6 feet of distance. I'm going to hug you anyway. They'll just have to.
Total permission right now. Granted, it's all public.
You're getting a hug.
Yeah, I'm going to be the one over there giving you the hug first. You know what, guys? That's what it's all about. This is what it's all about: is love and friendship, and that we can all do this together. Hey, we're both type A's, and here we are. We're sharing. Yeah, proud of it. Recovery type A. Yeah, right. Sort of. Maybe someday. You know, whatever. All right, right here. So as we close today, this show, Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service here on June the 22nd, 2020. Shannon D. Hughes, you are a service hero. We have made the case. We have, and everybody totally agrees. You give of your heart, your soul, the honest words today, and the inspiring just love that came and was oozing from you. And yes, I agree with Sherry and all the others that you, my dear, are going to help to change the world. And we all together can make such a difference.
Absolutely. Let's start that change.
One person at a time. And I know one of them right now. His name is Shannon D. Hughes, and he's my dear friend, and I just absolutely love you.
Love you too, my friend. Thank you very much.
All right. And the buddies, tonight it's Monday, so one of our very favorites, it's Magic Monday in the Chemo Buddies for Life closed group. So join us 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. It's always a fun time with the duo magic pair. You never know what they're going to be wearing. If they're going to be wearing their wings, if they're going to have fairy dust, if they're going to, what they're going to do. But it is always a good time. All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Thank you.